The City of Cape Town says its Cash for Power program is yielding results. Businesses and households have so far earned over 25 million rand from the project. And under this program, the city buys excess solar PV power from small-scale generators in exchange for municipal bill credits and cash. Well, let's see how it actually works. An Executive Director for Energy in the City of Cape Town, Kadri Nassiep, joins us now. Kadri, good morning to you and thanks for being on the program. It's quite an impressive number of suppliers you have now, 1,461 sellers. How does it all work?
Well, firstly, good morning to you and the viewers. Yes, it's an exciting initiative. But the concept of small-scale embedded generation has been around for some time. In the previous model that we employed, we actually allowed commercial and residential customers to sell back power, but only as much as they consumed from the grid. However, during the course of last year, we took a decision as a city to actually empower our markets even more effectively. So we've actually allowed for the first time our commercial customers to actually sell more power than what they actually consume from the grid, becoming what we call prosumers. We've now extended the program, the Cash for Power program, to the residential customers to also afford them the same benefit. And I can go through the modalities of how that actually works with you.
Yeah, we can, although we have a limited time in which to do so, Kadri. My rudimentary understanding is that whatever you have, if you are in a grid-tied system, you can either have as a contribution or credit in your municipal bill, and when it reaches zero, you can get what is over and above in the form of an actual cashback payment. Is that a simplified and accurate understanding?
Very, very accurate. So you have to follow a process, unfortunately. Many people don't like the complexity attached to it, but it is designed to protect the network and to protect your household. So we are simplifying the process, and during the course of March, you'll be able to follow a somewhat automated online application system that will allow for faster permissions to be granted for installation, followed up by hopefully very quick approval of your system to allow it to be able to sell back into the grid. So how it would work is, in essence, once your system is approved and you are allowed legally to sell back into the grid, you will accumulate credit. Obviously, we're expecting that you will then work off your municipal account, as you correctly pointed out. So once you've actually cleared your municipal account, then the credit that's generated will be paid over a certain time frame to you, should you have accumulated enough to be reimbursed for that.
And it's a small demonstration, isn't it, Kadri, of how you can get homes and businesses to be part of, basically augmenting our energy supply in South Africa, which, as you know, has been blighted by, ongoing load shedding. So just talk to us about what the impact has been of even getting this cohort of residences and businesses on board with the program.
So currently, if I look at how many installations are authorized by the city, we have well over 100 megawatts of power that's actually been installed, of which a fraction of that will obviously be fed back into the grid. But even if it's 10 or 20 megawatts, it makes a huge difference. So, for example, every stage of load shedding that we experience during summer months is between 40 and 45 megawatts. So you can start to see the contribution that's being made by solar. Of course, we're not just looking at the supply side of things, we're looking at the demand side and also asking residents and businesses to work with us as part of our Power Heroes campaign to ensure that we can actually reduce demand during load shedding periods by the requisite amount to avoid up to a stage of load shedding. So it becomes a partnership. It's a win-win for the city as well as for its residents and businesses. So we keep the lights on, businesses stay productive, homeowners stay safe, and we build up a better quality of life in so doing. So it's a small price to pay from the city's perspective to ensure that we have customers that are well looked after and supported in these tough times.
All right, we'll talk about how you make it bigger just a little bit later on if there's time. I want to go a little bit more on this Power Heroes concept. So the city can remotely switch off high energy users with the permission of the landowner or the business owner. Just walk us through how it works.
Sure. So what we've done is we've actually gone out on tender and appointed the services of a contractor. The contractor would then go effectively door to door, engaging the support of the homeowner. And once they've secured the support of the homeowner, they will install a smart meter device free of charge to the consumer on their property. That will then allow the contractor, which we call an aggregator, to remotely switch off non-essential loads. And I must stress, these are non-essential loads. So, for example, air conditioning, your swimming pool pumps, and of course through to your geyser. obviously the intention is not to leave you without hot water, so we would cycle through communities to ensure that no one is adversely affected by this, but at the same time we are able to offer a consolidated reduction in the system of up to 60 megawatts, which corresponds to one stage of load shedding during winter. Now, as you know, we have an ambitious program that's been determined by our mayor, and in that program, we aim to reduce the impact of load shedding by up to 4 stages by 2026. So this forms part of that process. So one stage will be avoided using the demand response initiatives such as Power Heroes. And then, of course, you've got the supply side levers, which aims to bring on more dispatchable power into the system. And by dispatchable, I mean that it's available continuously or as and when required by the system.
So we know that we've got, some tax incentives around the installation of solar and some rebates that you can get emanating from that. So that's on, I would say probably on businesses and probably middle-class residences that can do that. But given the success of the way the program, in the way that I understand it now, and I'm sure other people will have different views, which we can talk about if they do emerge, it's primarily focused on that, and it's been quite successful for the city. How do you roll that out and include, make it more inclusive of other areas, in the city of Cape Town or even beyond, so that they can give this benefit to the city and also benefit from it?
I think that's a fantastic question, because, the question as always is, if the city subsidizes the use of solar, who actually pays for that subsidy? And the unfortunate reality is it's those consumers who don't have access to solar who end up subsidizing those who already have the funding in order to get solar. So it's a bit of a perverse incentive in some cases to subsidize those who don't need it. So one has to look at how do we ensure that others, perhaps not as affluent, those that are in need of energy systems, are also afforded the same benefit. The nice thing about the rapid introduction of solar around the country, and there's been well over 4,000 megawatts, so more than a complete Eskom 6-pack power station has already been installed in the country, which is significant in a very short period of time. Now, when you look at that, it has helped to bring down the overall cost of solar. It's still not affordable to those that are in your lowest levels in terms of LSM groupings. But what it does mean is that it opens up the market for much more entry by your SMEs and so on like that. Now, there are such things as solar home systems. So these are much smaller, and they are designed to provide lighting as well as mobile phone charging. And those can provide a quick fix solution for those that are not able to afford the much larger rooftop solar installations that you see on more affluent households. So there is an opportunity. We are looking at something called free basic alternative energy, which would be, in essence, a voucher-based system to afford the indigent customers the same discount, if you like, or the same subsidy that would be achieved through free basic electricity. So that is in the pipeline. It's obviously budget dependent, and in these tough times financially, it remains to be seen how soon we can roll that out. But it's very much part of our plans to bring solar and clean energy to our poorer communities as well.
Well, let's end on that note then, with the long-term plans to exponentially grow the program.
So definitely. So what we're doing is, as I said, we're managing supply and demand side levers. So on the supply side, certainly as we've spoken about this morning, we've opened up the Cash for Power program to the middle income, let's put it that way. As we go forward with free basic alternative energy, we're hopeful that we can provide the first 60 units of electricity or the equivalent in energy terms. So, for example, if you wanted gas, you'd be able to get that same benefit out of the free basic alternative energy support. That, as I said, is budget dependent as we go forward. But with time, we will, of course, be electrifying as many of the communities out there. We are almost at 100% electrification. The problem with some areas is that they are in areas that cannot be electrified for one or other reason. So that is a different challenge on its own. But with time, the idea is to expand this and to introduce clean energy services as a mainstream energy supply into those communities.
Kadri Nassiep, thank you very much for talking to us and sharing the details of this Cash for Power plan that the City of Cape Town's embarked upon, making over 25 million in cash for its residents, both commercial and residential, who are contributing to the program and are on it. And you heard there plans to expand the program exponentially as well.